Hey guys, Mike Healy here, and another impromptu workout rant. I guess after my workouts, I've been doing these here sitting in the parking lot in my van. And if you notice, the headline today is, are you positioned for success? And if things aren't going the way they should be, what you can do about it. And so I think I'm going to give you some tips that I think you can take to the bank. And I have been taking these audios and I post them on my podcast. I do take this video and I put area that was it was a little room that had just folding chairs and like 40 people, and now we get nearly probably close to 5,000 people in a week will walk through our doors, and again, we just bought a new campus and stuff like that. So here's my point to this. Okay, the one of the things that I see, and I've done myself, and I'm guilty of this, is a lot of people will desire success, the outcome, right? And I did a teaching on this on my last video, I believe it was. And they'll even take the time to pray and say, hey God, give me this, and I want to increase, and a lot of people now tithe and sow and things like that, but a lot of times they wonder why they're not breaking through. And what I had to learn was that there's faith without works is dead. Okay, and what that meant to me, or what I've seen it happen in my life, was that I had to position myself for success. Okay, and what I mean by that is success should never surprise you. I can't remember what book it was that I read this. I've heard it a bunch of times too, and I've taught on it. But most people that become successful, when they get to that higher level, they're not shocked by it. They're not surprised by it. They literally don't cheer like they won the lotto, because they've diligently gone through the process. And I think what happens though is a lot of people, like I'm in a marketing company, right? Like it's mostly a lot of personal development, and then we have services or products, that kind of thing. But what I've seen though is the most successful people I've seen in my group were the people that were diligent in doing the small things. Hi, honey.
Hi.
She just got me getting in the car, my wife. They were diligent with the small things. And what I mean by that is when they woke up in the morning, they began to position themselves for success because they started reading a book on maybe one of their weaknesses, or if they identified a strength, they were improving upon that strength, like public speaking or personal development as far as like sales techniques and sales tips and stuff. Like the stuff that I do a lot of times is I realized that I can't have a multi-million-dollar business if I have tools, systems, ideologies, philosophies around a $100 mentality, right? Okay, you can't have a $1 million income with a minimum wage activity and platform, if that makes sense. And what I would suggest, and here's kind of the tip to this, is that you have to figure out, okay, so there's nothing wrong with creating your plan, your vision, what you have. You gotta chase vision, right? Vision is what gets you up in the morning. But one of the things that I think that people miss is they don't take the time to not only create the plan, but then with that plan, there are steps underneath of that plan, okay? Like I think of how I can recruit people, right? One of the ways that I can bring more people into it, because I know that it's just a numbers game. So if that's the case, I have to figure out, okay, what's my capacity to personally talk to people? Well, it might be I can call people on the phone. So I learned how to do that for years and years and years. And then I learned, hey, I could make a video and send it to more people than I could talk on the phone, and I would increase my capacity for success because I'm positioning myself that way. Then I figured out how to do a YouTube channel, and I made more videos on there, and now people just will find me, literally call me and sign up with me, and I've never even talked to them. It's because you have to understand that success is not an accident, and you have to begin to position yourself to administrate things too. Like a lot of things I could do, and I did have to learn. Okay, there's a place there, and there's a process of this, that sometimes you have to go through these hard things. Like I look back now when I was by myself, not making any money, wanting to be like an internet marketer and stressed, I mean, stress to the point that I literally went to the doctor because I was having heart palpitations and all this, and it was turned out it was just literally stress, like perfect blood pressure, perfect heart, EKG, all that. But literally, I was just putting myself under this stress. And I look back at those days, and yeah, I could have approached it differently, but I didn't realize that those little things of learning, those small things at that time, would now bring it to where this vision, the bigger vision that I have, and the things that I'm now getting accomplished, I wouldn't be able to handle the capacity of the things, the size of the vision, if I wouldn't have been back in the what we would call the wilderness. You know, and like a perfect story, I've mentioned David before, you know, King David, and he's the one that killed the Goliath, right? Understand that before he was able and had confidence to go kill the giant, he had mentioned that before that, he heard about the reward for killing the giant, but when he approached the king, he actually had told him why he believed he could do that, because he was in the field when no one was watching, learning skills on how to, you know, keep track of sheep. And he used a sling, and, you know, he said he could kill the bear and the, you know, lion, right? He killed bears and lions that were trying to attack the sheep and wolves and things like that. And so learning those skills when no one was looking had positioned him when his opportunity came around. Okay. So last thing, and I'm done because I got to get going and get some work done. But what I would tell you and suggest to you is that look at what your vision is. Okay, have your big goal, you know, whether that's, you know, I want an organization of this many people with this much, you know, sales volume and things like that. And then start to kind of work backwards as to what that would take, right? So you work backwards, and then get down to the kind of the smaller, tiny parts that allow you to then identify the small steps that you have to take, right? The bricks. What are the bricks that put the building together, kind of thing. And if you do that, I'm telling you, the consistency of that will then put you above and beyond and everything. If you haven't read, I've mentioned this a couple times before, but I think it's a really good book to show people the significance of these small things, how big of a difference it can be. It's a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. You can obviously get it on audio. Even if you just listen to the 30-minute audio introduction that he does, that's fantastic. But the book is really, really good. It's very easy to read, but it explains that. So if you put your big vision out there, you'll then kind of write out a plan, but then there's going to be those things that will position you for success because you're learning those skills along the way. And a lot of people they skip those things because those are the kind of the behaviors you have to have, the core tasks you have to identify and things like that to scale your business and so on. Like right now, I have done nothing for the last 10 months, but work diligently on my business, but put systems in place to scale it massively on a global scale. Like I've had to figure out, okay, I've got groups in 52 countries now. What am I going to need? How am I going to be able to communicate with them? What's the tactics? What am I going to have to learn? And I've had to learn those things, and now it's positioned me to be able to handle those things. Okay, so success is not going to surprise you. You just have to position yourself correctly by putting those right things in front of you and learning those tasks. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I'll throw some of these out there as I get them. So peace and love, and I'll see you guys on the other videos. Thanks.